Hi, guys. My name's Tina Albert, and I'm an alcoholic. And I am so incredibly grateful to be here and be sober this evening. I love Alcoholics Anonymous. And if you're new or relatively new here, I want to welcome you. The one thing I did forget to ask is what time I'm supposed to shut up. So I think I have 2 hours and 10 minutes. Just kidding. Bye. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh, I love this, you guys. I'm so incredibly grateful to be here. And Roman, thank you for asking me to come and spend the weekend with you guys. I want to thank the committee. Like, I don't know whether a lot of you guys have had the opportunity to be on a committee for a conference or a roundup or a little whatever. It's a lot of work. Such a lot of work. And this is a larger committee, which means it's a lot more work. And what I learned when I was brand new in Alcoholics Anonymous is that 90% of the work in AA is done by 10% of the people. And the other 90% complain about the way that the 10% do it. And so, just in case that rang true for you, I would invite you to come and volunteer on next year's committee and dive right on in here. Because what I found out as a result of being sober in Alcoholics Anonymous is that come on in, the water's fine. Like, oh my God, I love this thing. And I'm so excited to be here. I was supposed to be here with you guys in 2020, a couple weeks before the world shut down. And this was a little bittersweet because I was going to accompany Clancy to be with you guys in 2020. And I thought I was just coming to make sure that he had a companion on the plane, and maybe do like a little sponsorship panel with George and myself and Clance. And so if your phone goes off or you get up and walk around during the meeting, I'm going to channel him for you and embarrass the living hell out of you. Just saying. God, I love Alcoholics Anonymous. I am humbled. I am grateful. I am beyond overwhelmed to be in your midst this evening. And I love that. As Roman asked for a moment of silence to remember why we're here, I could have heard I could have heard a pin drop in the room. And if you're new or relatively new in Alcoholics Anonymous, or if you're old and you're not feeling it anymore, like I get that. Oh my God, I get that. My sobriety date is October 10th of 1984. Like what? Promise when I was 6, I didn't come in here to get and stay sober for 38 years. That was not my intention. I just wanted to come in and take a break, y'all, because I was tired. And I needed to take a break. And then I wanted to drink some more. And as a result of coming in here and getting a sponsor and taking some action, sometimes even for the wrong reason, I haven't found it necessary to take a drink or anything else that affects me from the neck up since the 10th day of October in 1984. And sometimes in the midst of Alcoholics Anonymous with multiple decades of sobriety, I can act like a jerk in AA. I can act like a jerk. One of my favorite things to say, well, my favorite, not so favorite things to say to my current sponsor, which comes out of my mouth at least once or twice a month, is, oh my God, I'm so sorry I made you look bad. Because I'm that one. Like, I do things and I get reported. But this is super important, you guys. The one thing that I have not done since the 10th day of October in 1984 is found the need to try and defend my mistakes. Like, I am all about admitting and accepting responsibility for my boneheaded behavior. And what I found is that it's not the mistakes that make me thirsty in Alcoholics Anonymous. It's my need to defend them. And I'm so grateful for that lesson. I love Alcoholics Anonymous. And my friend Kelly flew all the way here from Los Angeles. It's her first time out of the country. And and she got to speak in Hamilton last night. And we went ziplining at Niagara Falls because we're the crazy Americans. And I've met people, and I see my friends, and George is here, and oh my God, Roger has 59 years sober today. What are you talking about? Stand up, Roger. Get up. Stand up, Roger. Yay! Don't worry, I won't make them sing for you, unless y'all want to. Thank you so much for paving the way. Thank you so much for being an example in Alcoholics Anonymous, and thank you so much for being one of the shoulders upon my the shoulders that my giants got to stand upon, to be in the middle of Alcoholics Anonymous. Without you, we wouldn't be here, and I'm so grateful. So grateful. Happy birthday, anniversary, whatever you call it. And my friend Kelly flew here from Los Angeles, and all of my Canadian Pacific group friends are here. So Jennifer's here, and Alex is here, and I do a big book study on Tuesday night with Odie, and we like bust that book down every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. It's a women's meeting, and we get down with the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And my friend George is here, my friend Kevin is here, and I'm a rich woman, you guys, as a result of being here with you. Like my life is rich and full. My sponsee Deb and her husband Justin drove all the way here from Akron, and my friends Paul and Christina are here from Cleveland, and I don't know how you get to where I stand today. From where I came from, but through the loving God that I found in the middle of Alcoholics Anonymous, and just a tiny bit of willingness to take actions that I don't believe in. And so I'm supposed to share with you in a general way, and I must say I'm super grateful for that general part. You should probably be too. What I used to be like, what happened, and what I'm trying to be like today. We all know what it used to be like, but my literature tells me that I'm supposed to share with you what I used to be like. And I can tell you that I needed a drink of alcohol a long time before I ever picked one up. Dr. Silkworth describes me perfectly in the doctor's opinion in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous as restless, irritable, and discontented. And I was that way from the time that I could remember. I was raised in a little upper middle class beach community in Southern California. I was called Manhattan Beach. I went to school with a bunch of little girls that were, here comes Cal, 5 feet tall. They all had long flowing blonde hair, sparkly blue eyes, really pretty surfer chick tans. They looked like prepubescent Pamela Andersons. I was 5'8" when I was in the 7th grade. I had long stringy reddish hair, buck teeth, and freckles. And I would look in the mirror. I felt like Pippi Longstocking on crack, you guys, like uncomfortable in my own skin. Not good enough, smart enough, pretty enough. I didn't fit in. I wasn't a part of. I didn't know how to do anything that you guys seem to know how to do naturally. I was just inherently broken on the inside. And my greatest fear was that there was something wrong with me. And I was afraid you were going to figure out what that was before I did, and then you would have some information on me, which is always a bad thing. And I went to school with these little girls, and I just felt so incredibly broken. I can share with you guys that I've done a lot of inventory in the last 38 years in Alcoholics Anonymous, and therefore Kelly gets to stay. I'm kidding. She's one of my besties, and I just like to pick on her because it gives her hot flashes and stuff in meetings. It's really fun. And she didn't bring me coffee this morning, so I had to roast her just a little bit. Whatever. But I was raised in this little upper middle class beach community, just broken, you guys. I was absolutely certain that everything wrong in my life was my mom's fault. Quite frankly, I think the doctor should have smacked her on the day that I was born instead of me, because there was something wrong, and I was certain it was her fault. I'm the kind of kid that sits around the dinner table with my brothers and sisters and know that my mom loves them way more than she loves me. I'm an only child, so that'll give you a little peek into the way that my brain works. Like I'm not much, but I'm all I think about. You guys, I am consumed by self. And I don't even know, I don't know that I'm consumed by self until I come to Alcoholics Anonymous. And I start reading our literature, and our big book tells me that I'm consumed with 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity. And I think to myself, like, I'm a tough guy. I am not afraid of anything. And the truth is, I am terrified of everything. And my greatest fear is, my literature describes my fear as something called self-centered fear. I'm not afraid of snakes and snails and puppy dog tails. I am afraid of this inherent belief that I'm broken, that there's something wrong with me and I'm going to be unable to connect with you throughout the course of my life. I'm never going to get enough of what I think I need or I want. Self-centered fear in our book is described as fear that we're going to lose something that we possess or fail to gain something that we demand. And I am terrified that I'm going to lose and not gain something that I think that I need and demand in my life. And I'm 10, for crying out loud. I don't know why you come up with these fears when you're 10, but I am consumed. I am terrified by fear. And I go to school and I don't feel a part of. And just to jump into my first drunk, because I think it's important we talk about drinking a little bit in the A&A. I was 12 years old. I'm a late bloomer. I decided that I was going to cut school in the 7th grade and I was going to go to my friend Carrie's house and we were going to drink scotch. Well, I didn't decide that, she did. And I left my mom's house that morning. I went to Carrie's house. We cracked the paper seal off of a fifth of scotch. And I watched Carrie take a big drink off of the bottle. And she handed me the bottle. I took a big drink off the bottle. It burned all the way down. It burned all the way up. It burnt when it flew out my nose. It was just gross. And I didn't want to drink any more of it, but I watched Carrie take another drink off that bottle, and I watched something happen to her, like this visual shift in who she was. And her face got a little bit pink. She started giggling. She wasn't worried about getting in trouble for cutting school anymore, and so I took the scotch bottle from her, and I plugged my nose. I held my breath. I chugged the scotch. And just enough of that gross stuff stayed down for something magical to happen to me. And you can sing along with me if you know the words right now. I received a sense of ease and comfort, which came at once by taking that drink. And I am a classic doctor's opinion girl. You guys, I absolutely love the effect that I get from a drink of alcohol. It seems to fix absolutely every single thing that I think is broken about me. And just to fast forward through that afternoon, we drank way too much scotch. I threw up all over Carrie's mom's living room, which made her not too happy. I had large memory gaps throughout the course of that afternoon that I thought was just scotch, but you told me were something called blackouts. I thought everybody had those. I didn't see a problem with them. I actually drank hoping to get those towards the end, which always happened. But I had large memory gaps throughout the course of that afternoon. The school called. My mom came banging on Carrie's door. She knew right where I was, and we jumped out Carrie's bedroom window, climbed over the backyard fence, and I was off on Pippi's first grand adventure. And I had a blast that afternoon, you guys. I climbed the water tower in Manhattan Beach. We were jumping over backyard fences. I was hiding in your dog houses, and we were running from the cops, and they weren't even chasing us. I had so much fun. And about 4 o'clock that afternoon, I knew I couldn't go home because I was in trouble, so I stole this bicycle from the continuation school that had no seat on it. I took Carrie's 9-year-old brother and I put him on the handlebars of the stolen bicycle, and we ran away from home because it just seemed like the answer. And I'm not the girl that comes up with a better solution to the problem with the same brain that created it in the first place. I oftentimes compound the fracture when I'm trying to fix my messes, and I just splatter all over everything. And I was doing the Pippi goes chola phase when I was in the 7th grade. I don't know if you guys know what cholas are in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. But I was running all over Redondo Beach, scribbling La Flaca, R13 all over the walls in pencil. I thought I was a little gangster. And I had this reddish hair all ratted up in this Aquanet helmet thing, and I was wearing Dickies and Crip slips, and I was just a nightmare. I put Sean on the handlebars of the stolen bicycle. We ran away from home. I got us all the way up to East LA, and I ran out of scotch. And Sean's crying. It's cold. We don't have any food. I'm out of answers. I got a chain wrapped around my neck for protection. And I called the cops on myself, and they came and picked us up, and I destroyed my mom that day. And when I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, a short 8 years later, I was singing that alcoholic theme song. Man, my drinking really doesn't affect anybody but me. I hurt myself way more than I harm anybody else. And I destroyed my mom that day. I destroyed my mom that day. Her friend drove her up to the police station to pick me up because she couldn't drive. She's crying. And it was the first time she asked me that question, Tina, how could you? And I hate that question, you guys, because I don't know the answer. That is not what I planned on doing when I left for school that morning. And I destroyed her every single day for the next years and the next 8 years. And I'm not super stoked to say for a lot of years after I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, I was not a stellar daughter. I was not a rocket to stardom in the A&A. I'm a nightmare sometimes, you guys, and I'm so grateful that I know that. I'm so grateful that when I came to you guys this time in 1984, that you guys explained to me the nature of my problem. I'm so grateful that I got a sponsor, even though I didn't want one, that I got the right sponsor, I think. I think this sponsorship is like this divinely inspired thing where Spirit just hooks you up with whoever it is that you're going to be able to listen to. Our 12 and 12 describes us sponsorship as an ability to accept advice and follow direction. And I got that sponsor, the one that was louder than my head, the one that I was willing to accept advice and follow direction from. And he started telling me the hard stuff. I know I said I'll get to that in a minute. He started telling me the hard stuff, even though he knew the consequences were going to be dire, because he was going to say something that was going to hurt my feelings, and I was going to react inappropriately. And that's me. I'm a bonehead sometimes. It doesn't matter how long I'm sober. But what I do understand is the nature of my problem. And when I was brand new in here, they told me, honey, you don't have to dance with everybody, but you got to dance with somebody. And since the 10th day of October in 1984, I've been willing to do that. I don't know why I went there. Go left. I ran away from home that day. My mom came and picked me up at the police department at 11 o'clock that evening, asking me that question, how could you? I don't have an answer for that, but I can tell you that what I remember vividly the next morning after I woke up having thrown up corn out of my nose and peed the bed, because I'm a glamour girl, is that I could not wait to do that again. I could not, not the corn part. That kind of hurt a little bit, but that sense of ease and comfort that comes at once by taking a drink. Oh my God, you guys, I love the effect produced by a drink of alcohol. And I will assure you, if you're new or relatively new in Alcoholics Anonymous here this evening, that if I didn't get more than a sufficient substitute from Alcoholics Anonymous than I used to get from a drink of liquor, you'd have another speaker here this evening. What I want to tell you is Alcoholics Anonymous is and has always been a more than sufficient substitute for the relief that I got from a drink of alcohol. It took a minute, I can assure you, but I love this life. I love this life even when I don't like the lifey stuff that's happening. I love this life even when I'm broken and dying in the middle of Alcoholics Anonymous, because my experience has been, since the time that I came to you and made a commitment to stay sober, is that I haven't had to walk through anything in this life by myself, and I am so incredibly grateful for that. I haven't had to walk through anything in this life by myself even when I want to. I haven't had to walk through anything in this life that I'm absolutely certain that I can't let you get close enough to support me through, because I'm that girl. I push you away and you come in anyway. And I am so incredibly grateful that for 38 years and a couple of months and a couple of days, Alcoholics Anonymous, this fellowship that has grown up about me, holds me up when my knees fail to do the job. I am so grateful to you. I want you to know that every single thing that I love and value in my life that has any meaning whatsoever is a direct result of my continued involvement in Alcoholics Anonymous. And I am abundantly clear this evening that what I have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of my spiritual condition. I am abundantly clear that what I have is one day sober, and I get that one day based on the actions that I take in that one day, and that my life works the best when it's about more of you, less of me. What can I do for you? I can tell you that for 38 years, to the absolute best of my recollection and ability, I have never said no to Alcoholics Anonymous. I do not believe there is one time that I have ever said no to Alcoholics Anonymous, even when I don't want to do what you ask me to. Even when it's uncomfortable, when I don't think I can, when I'm certain Deb would do a much better job, when it's inconvenient. Like, I love to be divinely inconvenienced by Alcoholics Anonymous, because what I get in that is absence of self, which is the answer to all of my problems. Less of me, more of you. How can I be of service? I love this deal. I'm going to stop talking about drinking because I think I qualified that part. There's one line in the big book. I just lied. How about that? I'll fix that in a minute. There's one line in the big book that will sum up the entire rest of my drinking. It says, with it goes the annihilation of all things worthwhile in life. And I looked up that word because I'm a tad bit of a big book thumper. I fancy myself an intellect. My sponsor made me look stuff up when I was new with a highlighter and a pen and a Webster's dictionary. And to annihilate means to reduce to nothing. And that sums it up. I reduced to nothing everything that I loved in my life for just one more moment of a sense of ease and comfort that I know that's going to come at once by taking a drink. And I drank myself into and out of middle school, high school, continuation school, because like, I can't show up. I drink and I can't show up and do the things that I'm supposed to do. I took the California High School Proficiency Exam when I was 16 years old, halfway through the 10th grade. And I graduated from high school. I went to El Camino College, where I was drunk and loaded every single day and leaving campus before I got in trouble. I accidentally enlisted in the United States Navy. That's a story I don't have enough time to tell. I was working at Burger King, because that's what happens when you have a 10th grade education and you drop out of college. You go to Burger King, and there was a United States Marine standing at the cash register in his dress blue uniform. And I don't know about you guys, but I love a man in uniform. Ladies, come on. Like, Cub Scouts, football players, sanitation workers, like, it doesn't even... But I gave this guy my phone number. I went down to his office because he started calling me. He found out that I was 17 years old with a California proficiency certificate, and he took me next door to the Navy office like, oh God, like, you take her, we don't want her. And then I accidentally ended up in boot camp, and I was 17 years old. I was drunk from the plane ride cross country, and I was relatively certain as soon as I could explain the nature of the mistake that had been made in the morning, they would send me home. And Navy boot camp doesn't work that way. And I finished boot camp. I met my first commanding officer at 6 weeks enlisted, almost halfway through boot camp, for drinking. Somebody brought in a 6-pack of beer, and I got drunk. Well, I didn't get drunk in boot camp, but I did drink the 6-pack of beer in boot camp, and I met the commanding officer. I almost got kicked out. They sent me to A school in Pensacola, Florida, where I was going to school to be a cryptologic technician, which means that I was enlisted to be in naval intelligence, which should frighten you a little bit. Understand, Canada is our ally. And I'm going to school. I'm waiting for all of these top secret special intelligence security clearances. I get drunk on a duty weekend and leave base when I'm not supposed to, and meet my second commanding officer. And I have my second captain's mast, which is like court if you're a civilian. And this time I spent a couple weeks in the restricted barracks. I lost a stripe and half my pay for a little while. I graduated with the class after mine, and they sent me to my first duty station, which was Adak, Alaska, which is a little Aleutian island off the Kamchatka Strait in Russia. And in 1982, we were spying on Russia, so that's where they sent us. And I had orders to go work at the Pentagon, but I blew that one, and they sent me to this little ice-covered rock in the middle of nowhere. And I was secretary to the commanding officer of this little naval security group on this island, and every piece of classified intelligence that came across my desk I would type up, and then I would go have a couple Long Island iced teas on my lunch break and start coming back and sending this classified information to the wrong people at the wrong command. And that's not funny, George. The Navy frowns on that just a little bit. And I had my second encounter actually with Alcoholics Anonymous. And I was still 17 years old. They put me on Antabuse. I drank on Antabuse only 4 times. My friend Frank Jones used to say, if you're going to be an alcoholic, you can't let looking bad stand in your way. You just got to drink right past that. And the first time I drank on Antabuse, I threw up for like 6 hours. And then there's a line in our literature that says that we're unable at certain times to bring into our consciousness with sufficient force the memory of the suffering and humiliation of even a week or a month ago and being without defense against that first drink. And I got so sick that day, a couple weeks later, I started thinking, like, I drank Heineken. That's strong. And maybe if I had Coors Light, which is almost water anyway, like I made that insane, sober, second step decision to pick up a drink, knowing exactly what was going to happen to me. Like I knew I was going to get sick from drinking on Antabuse. I knew it because it happened before, but I lie to me and I go, here's how I'm going to put that hand on that hot stove because it's not going to burn me this time. And it, you know what? It burnt. And I did that only 2 more times after that. The second time I ended up in the psychiatric unit at the Elmendorf Air Force Base Hospital in Anchorage, Alaska, because the Navy thinks you might suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders when you do crazy stuff like that. And the next time I ended up in a rehabilitation program in Philadelphia where I drank on Antabuse for the 3rd time. The 4th time was the day that I was kicked out of the rehab for drinking on Antabuse at a Phillies game, spray puking 5 rows, because whatever. I know. I was discharged from the military on the 15th day of July in 1983. It was the absolute worst day of my life. It was the day that I realized that I traded everything that I love for just one more drink, knowing precisely what was going to happen. I'm not somebody that will tell you that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I know we hear that a lot in Alcoholics Anonymous. It even kind of sounds good. But my experience, which is all I can share with you, is that insanity for me seems to be doing the same thing over and over again, knowing exactly what's going to happen. Bill Wilson, and as Bill sees it, did a writing on dishonesty. And he said that the deception of others is nearly always rooted in the deception of ourselves. And I have to lie to me, you guys, before I can possibly hope to pass one off to you. And I drank that day seemingly against my own will. I told my counselor when I was leaving the rehabilitation program that I was going to go to the neighborhood Alano Club in downtown Philadelphia and ask this beastly old wench named Alice to be my sponsor because I was listening in the AA meetings and I was going to do whatever it took to stay sober. And as I believe it was Jay spoke about earlier today, like you guys could have hooked me up to a polygraph and I would have passed it. I was not going to drink. I was going to do whatever it took to save my military career. I'd go to AA, I'd get the sponsor, I'd take the Antabuse, like whatever you ask me to do, I'm willing to do. Like I don't want to be discharged from the military. I love serving my country. It's been a dream of mine my whole life. I love serving my country. I do not want to do this. And that counselor told me, that's good, kid. If you ever want to get sober, call Alcoholics Anonymous, but you won't, you'll die drunk. And I was 17 years old, and the story that I told myself was that I'm too young to be an alcoholic. I can't possibly be an alcoholic of your variety. I'd been listening in your meetings. I hadn't done all of the things I heard you guys talking about doing. I hadn't had any drunk drivings. I hadn't lost any jobs. I don't know what I thought the Navy was. It's not just a job. It's an adventure. I haven't lost any jobs nor any families. I haven't wrecked any cars. Like I haven't done the things that you guys talk about doing. But I went over to the naval station to wait for my separation. I swore I was going to go to Alcoholics Anonymous, and by noon I was at the EM club and I was pitching quarters and drinking beer on Antabuse for the last time, and I drank every single day for the next 15 months. And I came to Alcoholics Anonymous on October 10th of 1984, dying of something called chronic alcoholism. And I was 20 years old, and I wasn't even really sure what that meant. I don't know whether you guys can understand this or have any experience with it. People my entire life had been telling me, oh my God, kid, like you got such a problem with alcohol. If you would just not drink, oh my God, kid, everything would be okay. Like you have so much, I hate this word, potential. Which really means just you're such an ass, but you won't do anything. Like you could do anything you want to, but look at you. One more time, you just blow everything that matters to you in your life. And I think to myself, every time somebody would tell me that, if you knew the way that I feel when I'm sober, you'll never tell me that I have a problem with liquor. Like that seems to be the only solution that I've ever known in my entire life. And I came to you guys this time in 1984, dying of alcoholism. I weighed 120 sucked up pounds. I had just enough bile in my hair to pass as highlights, because whatever. And I had that acrid homeless stench that just takes months to wash out of your pores. And I was living in a 1971 MG Midget. And I used to call it my roundabout townhouse, because when it would run, it would get me roundabout town. And I had just stolen a big 1.75 liter bottle of cheap vodka from the boys' market. I had it sitting in the den, and I hadn't even opened the bottle yet. And my shoulders dropped a little bit, and that crick in my neck went away, and I was able to take a nice long deep breath. I knew whenever I made the decision to drink that vodka that everything was going to be okay for a minute. And I also knew there was a good possibility I was going to fire up that car and drive someplace, because I just got to go somewhere when I'm drinking. And I might drive that car. I might injure myself or somebody else. I might wake up in jail one more time and not remember how I got there. I might wake up with your husband or your wife. Don't judge. You guys do that too. Like, I do whatever it takes to continue drinking once I start. Somebody else said earlier, our speaker this afternoon said, like, she was talking about morals. Like, I cross every moral boundary that I ever set for myself, and I do things that make me hate myself. And then I wake up the next morning and I hazily remember maybe just a little bit of something, which requires me to drink to put the fire out. Dr. Silkworth says that this is repeated over and over again, that unless I can experience an entire psychic change, there's very little hope of my recovery. And my experience for 15 months was I drank until something physically separated me from liquor. I stayed sober until the pain of being sober was so great that it required me to drink again. I burn with a guilt and a shame and a remorse that nothing extinguishes but Jack Daniel's whiskey. And then I make a sober decision, as sober as I am this evening, to pick up a drink of alcohol to put the fire out, and I'm off and running one more time. Lack of power is my dilemma. I lack the power of choice when it comes to a drink. I'm not the just say no girl. Like, if that would have worked, Nancy Reagan or whoever the heck that was in the 1990s would have just fixed alcoholism, because we'd all just be saying no and zip-lining over the Niagara Falls, whatever. But what we're doing instead is sitting in a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous listening to some goof talk about what a bonehead she was. Whatever. I came to you guys dying of alcoholism. I walked into a 5:30 Wednesday night meeting at the Alano Club in Hawthorne. It was called the Southwest Alano Club. It was full of people that were 86 to 132. I was 20. And I walked in there and I thought, like, oh my God. Like, I drank myself here. Now what? And you guys were so incredibly kind to me. You brought me coffee, a half a cup at a time, because you knew in a minute I was going to start shaking a little bit. I don't know how you knew. We just know. And you took turns sitting next to me because I was super stinky. So you'd rotate, like 15 minutes at a time. When I would get too smelly for my own nostrils, I would steal soap from the boys' market and go down to the sand showers in Manhattan Beach and try and wash up a little bit. And the parents of my friends that I went to high school with would come walking past me on the bike path, and they would look at me with that look on their face that said, like, oh my God, you used to spend the night in my home with my daughter. Would you, like, what happened to you? And I would just look at the ground. That's how I came to Alcoholics Anonymous. I knew what kind of shoes every one of you guys wore, because I couldn't make eye contact with you. I knew every burn on every table in that Alano Club because I stared at the table and used to count the specks on the tiles on the floor to make sure I didn't have to look up. And I was so broken. I went to that meeting and I heard this old guy, very first meeting. I only know he said this because I heard it every single meeting, 4 a day for the next 97 years in Alcoholics Anonymous. Before he died, he said, "I'd like to welcome our new friends to the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous and let you know that you never have to pick up another drink for the rest of your life, 24 hours at a time." And I looked at him and thought oh, you only have 3 days left, old man. It's gonna be really easy for you. That's not even the solution that I'm looking for. I just want to not drink for a minute and move out of my car. I just want to drink for a minute and take a hot shower. I might want to not drink for a minute and find him. 'Cause they said AA was a really good place to look for him. And then they told me that the odds were good, but the goods were odd. And that's held true. I didn't know they were talking about me, or I might have got offended, but I don't know, you guys. I built a life inside of Alcoholics Anonymous that's been beyond compare. When I was brand new in here, I got that sponsor thingy, not because I wanted to take the steps and have a personality change sufficient to bring about recovery from alcoholism. That's not why I got the sponsor thingy. I asked the sponsor because you guys ask me every single meeting. Got a sponsor, I'll be your sponsor. Who's your sponsor? Where you going to? Here's my phone number. Shut up. So you told me men with men, women with women, men will pat your butt, women will save it. Paul Mattson is now my new sponsor because, And he was this funny old hippie from the 60s, and he wore carpet purses and bandanas and all this turquoise jewelry, and he spoke with this really Shakespearean English accent, even though he was from Inglewood, California. And I asked him to sponsor me, and he said, "We'll give it a try, kid." And what that man did was he showed me by example what it meant to be a member in good standing in Alcoholics Anonymous. He didn't drive me my mandate like my later sponsor did, but he showed me what it looked like to be an AA member by saying, "These are the meetings we're going to go to, and this is the thing we're going to do, and hey kid, why don't you go stand at the door and be a greeter?" Ugh. I was talking to I think I joined the greeters today because I was a little uncomfortable. There's a couple of you guys here, and I was a little uncomfortable, so I just stood at the escalator with the greeters, and I just sent you guys downstairs like I knew what I was doing. You know what? If you're new in Alcoholics Anonymous, it's the secret. I'll whisper it to make sure you're listening to it, because if we say it too loud, you're not going to pay any attention. It's the secret in Alcoholics Anonymous. Get involved in AA and you'll become a part of this thing. Get involved in Alcoholics Anonymous and all of a sudden it won't be their thing, it'll be your thing. Get involved in the archives committee and find out what it means, our history. I'm a nuthead when it comes to the history in Canada. I don't know what it is, but I love the history in the United States of Alcoholics Anonymous. Going to Founders Day in June. Come on down, we're going to throw you a party this time. I love this thing. Be involved in Alcoholics Anonymous. My first service commitment was the ashtray putter outer person. And I would show up early and put the ashtrays out. And then my sponsor gave the commitment to a newcomer, and I was pissed. That's my commitment. And he put me in the kitchen where all the women have to go to wash the coffee cups. What are you talking about? And I was angry, and I got up to the podium and said, "Tina, alcoholic." He stood up and went, "That's all you know. Sit down now." So I washed the ashtrays first, and then I washed the ceramic cups in the dirty water, because how dare you? And then he made me your coffee maker, and I would make rank Navy coffee that you had to serve toothpicks with to get the grinds out of your little black teeth. And you'd come vibrating up to me after the meeting going, "Good Navy coffee, baby girl." And you'd go, "Stay up till Tuesday. I just want to share the experience with you." Really, I thought you'd fire me and give me a good position like your treasurer. And you did, and I stole your money. You made me your secretary. I didn't show up and let you in. I've done every single thing you could possibly do wrong in Alcoholics Anonymous over the course of 38 years, except one. Not one day since I came to you guys this time have I woke up with whiskey on my breath. My sponsor says all the time that we walk through life's difficulties with grace and dignity. And I say oftentimes, I walk through life's difficulties sober, and sometimes the grace and dignity has to catch up with me later. And what I find as a result of sticking around in here with you is that, like, my perception isn't an outward reality at all. Like, my perception, the way I think I show up, the things that I think I need, the things I think I'm supposed to do, have absolutely nothing to do with who I am as a member in Alcoholics Anonymous. Because since I got here this time, there's always been at least one person that I've wanted to please more than myself. And so I take direction and I do the things that I'm asked to do even when I don't want to do them, and it holds me in good stead in the middle of AA. That first sponsor passed away when I had 2 years sober, and he didn't talk a whole heck of a lot about God, which was perfect because I didn't want to either. And I would have told anybody that was listening when I was new in here that I didn't believe in a power greater than myself. And Paul was an atheist, agnostic, so we didn't talk about God. He died when I was 2 years sober. And you guys would get up to the podium and every other word out of your mouth was God. And every other word out of mine was God. And I got this new sponsor. It was a lady. And for the next 15 years, she walked me in Alcoholics Anonymous, and she talked about God a lot. And I started looking at old ideas that I had about the power and where those ideas came from and what I believed about myself as a result of those broken ideas. And if I could come up with a new concept, isn't that amazing? Like my very own concept of what this power might look like. Might I be willing to try and grow in effectiveness and understanding to form a relationship with this new idea of the power? And as a result of doing a little bit of old ideas work, what I found out is that it was never that I didn't believe in God. It was that I had done some things and been some places that had me believe that God didn't believe in me. And so if that's my belief, why am I going to try anyway? And I learn. And I learn and I grow, and my relationship with the power ebbs and it flows. And some days I'm walking hand in hand with the spirit of the universe, and some days I'm like, not. I'm going to fast forward. I don't know. What time do you want me to shut up? Don't say that. 5?
6.
7. Okay. Okay. So, I was sponsored by Connie for a lot of years. I married the Prince Charming in my fairy tale. I had these 2 amazing kids. You guys, I think I was born to be a mom. Like, I think this power put me on this earth to be Dylan and Matthew's mom. Oh my God. I had these 2 kids. I moved up to Northern California. I was like the Clancine of the Central Valley in California. Like, oh my God. Like, I'm stringing you up to the wall and reading the big book with you. Like, whether you want to hear it or not. And, I'm sponsoring half of Northern California. I got like 5 generations of my lineage in the room. Like, I love candlelight meetings because you turn the lights off and I glow in the dark. I'm like super sober. And I'm 21 and a half years sober. I give my eldest born to the United States Navy as my 9th step of men because I'm super creative. And Matthew ends up in Iraq, which was not the plan. It's why I gave him to the Navy. I wanted him on a boat in the middle of nowhere. But he's in southern Iraq. He comes back from Iraq a much different young man than the one that went over there. He's got some post-traumatic stress disorder that he's trying to treat with a little bit of recreational black tar heroin. And the Prince Charming in my fairy tale rides off into the sunset with the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club because that was the next step in his spiritual journey. And my marriage is over. My son is broken. My little guy's running off with gangbangers just like I did when I was a little girl, and breaking into cars and doing dastardly stuff. And I called Clancy, and I drove down to the Midnight Mission in Los Angeles, and I uttered those words, the most powerful words you can ever say in Alcoholics Anonymous, and those are, will you help me? Like, what that means to me is that I don't have another answer left. That I am at the end of my own human resources. I don't know what to do anymore, and I'm willing to accept advice and follow direction from you. And Clancy started sponsoring me. He sponsored me for the last 13 years. And my son got sober in the middle of my home group with the Pacific group and Alcoholics Anonymous. He called me up broken one day, because that's what all tough guys do. They call their sober mom. And I took him on a Pacific group camp out up into the middle of nowhere, and he detoxed around the campfire in Mono Hot Springs in the Sierras in California. And I watched the young men and women in my home group do that thing they do. Like, oh my goodness. And you guys taught me that my son could be sober in Alcoholics Anonymous without being Tina's kid. He could just be Matthew Alcoholic. And I'm so incredibly grateful for the lessons that you guys taught me. I'm so incredibly grateful that I watched you guys watch your kids get sober in Alcoholics Anonymous and leave your hands off them so they could have their own experience. And my son got sober in that home group, and he flourished. And Clancy was my sponsor. Dylan went into the Marine Corps and came back out honorably, first of the three of us, whatever. He came out and married his high school sweetheart, and I'm going to tell you a secret. No, I'm not. I'm not supposed to. I'll tell you when the first trimester's over. I didn't say it. I didn't say it. Dylan married his high school sweetheart. I got to double the size of her engagement ring because I'm all about points, and I made a lot. And he bought a little house 5 minutes down the road. My mom was suffering from a little bit of cognitive stuff, and she was diagnosed with dementia, and she couldn't live by herself anymore. And we made the decision to move up to Northern California to be close to both of my kids so they could help me with my mom, and we could make memories while she was still able to do that. And Clancy passed away on Monday, the 24th of August in 2020. And on Wednesday, I accidentally asked Sharon Crane to be my sponsor because I was looking for a little bit of direction, and then that came out of my mouth, and it was too late to take it and put it back in. So she was my new sponsor with all my 9,742 sober sisters. And Sharon and I decided that we were going to sell the house. We listed the place on Friday morning, the 28th of August, and Maddie was 5 years sober, just a couple days shy of his 6th anniversary in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I got a call at 4 o'clock the next morning on the 29th of August, and he had been in a horrible motorcycle accident. And instead of driving up the 15 to go to Clancy's Memorial in Las Vegas, I went north on the 5 to the Santa Clara Valley Medical Center, where my son was in the surgical ICU unit after a 23-hour surgery, and he lived for the next 69 days. And there's a thing that happened in the middle of those 69 days. Like, this fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous surrounded me in a way that I didn't even know I knew how to let you connect with me. You guys carried me through a time in my life that I didn't think I could walk through sober. That first sponsor told me if I was going to get and stay sober, I couldn't have any lurking notions or reservations that someday I was going to be able to drink successfully again. And if I had them, what might they be? And I remember telling him, if anything happens to my mom, I'm drinking. And if I'm ever blessed to have a child and something happens to that baby, I got to go. And in the last 2 years, both of those things have happened. And the thought of taking a drink hasn't crossed my mind, because I am a member in good standing in the fellowship, in the worldwide fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, because I am more willing to save my butt than I am my face, because I will always come in here and tell you honestly what is going on in my life without trying to hide anything and sneak around and be underhanded. Like, I just come in here broken to you guys. And when Maddie had his accident and he was having all those surgeries, he passed away. I was taking care of my mom. She passed away. Like, the last 2 years have been a big bummer, you guys. Like, I have not liked it at all. And what I would tell you for 2 years is that I'm angry at the power. Like, I'm mad at God. Like, and don't come up to me and go like, nothing happens in God's world by mistake, because I'll like throat punch you. I won't really. But what I know, like, we're 2 years away from the passing of my beautiful boy. 2 years away from the passing of one of the greatest gifts of my sobriety. And what I know is that nothing happens in God's world by mistake. What I know that Maddie passing was the best thing for Maddie. It had nothing to do with what I wanted, but it was the best thing to do for him. And here's what happened. You took this little girl, this homeless little girl living in a 1971 MG Midget that had been thrown out of her mom's house and had her mother say, "Never come back here, my child is dead." And you turned me into a woman that was able to care for my mother and hold her as she took her last breath. You turned me into a woman that was able to show up every single day for 69 days to the surgical ICU unit and make decisions and advocate for my son in a way that I didn't think was possible. And what you gave me the dignity to do is go in there with the strength that I didn't know that I possessed and allow me to turn off his life support and walk him home. There is absolutely no way, I can assure you, to get from where I stand today, from where I stood in 1984, but through Alcoholics Anonymous and a loving God that presents himself to me through you. Oftentimes in my life, I feel obscured from the needed power to live. And I come into Alcoholics Anonymous, I can't seem to access or connect that power, which is God. But what I do is I come in here and I look at you. And whether I can access God or not, I can see you, and I know in that God is. Thank you so much for letting me be here.